Huh?
Alright, Rebirth. The cover's kind of generic, got some edgelord and a wolf. Revenge. 300 years ago, the sorcerer Kalutika Maibus sealed the vampire Deshwitat in limbo after killing his fiancée Lilith. For centuries, Deshwitat's mind calculated revenge while his body slumbered, until now. A band of spiritual investigators has inadvertently broken the seal that binds him, and Deshwitat has been released. Redemption. A lot has changed since the 17th century. Carriages have been replaced by cars. The internet connects the world, and vampires have become stuff of legends. But beneath the veneer of technology, magic and religion still reign supreme. Kalutika is the most powerful person in the world, although few actually know he exists. Prophecy foretold that Kalutika would destroy the earth. Deshwitat's quest is now not just one of revenge, but redemption for himself and the world. Rebirth. Joined by an excommunicated exorcist and a spiritual investigator, Deshwitat begins a blood quest. The hunted is now the hunter. Okay, these names are hard to pronounce. The English language, they don't flow very well, but probably in the language where these names come from, they sound better. So it's a little difficult to say them. This middle paragraph, let me come back to this while I go over the story. So we have another urban fantasy story and a vampire story. As mentioned before, this is a revenge story and the plot is nothing new. Get stronger, take revenge. Although this manga has one of my favorite tropes, an edgelord with a saint-like lover. It's cringy and overused, but I love it. The highlight though to this is that the fiancé was killed by his best friend, who then mocks him and imprisons his mind into limbo. This has got me wondering what happened beforehand, and during all these centuries in limbo, he has been calculating his revenge. That is a lot of anger and wrath being built up. So the main character, I'm gonna call him Desh for short, but he did not have time to mourn or to figure out why this even happened. Unfortunately, that's the only interesting part of this manga to me, and it was only the beginning. The pacing of this manga made me bored. It takes the entire book to set the plot, which is established at the very end, which brings me to that middle paragraph in the back of the book. That doesn't actually happen in the story in volume 1. It doesn't go into depth with Kalutika. The story itself doesn't say that he is the most powerful being and that he wants to destroy the world. Desh never says that he's going to redeem himself, and we don't get to see Desh kind of react to this modern world yet. This is probably all going to be volume 2, so I found that kind of weird that they put that on the back. This is an action fantasy manga, but there's only one battle in this volume, and it's most of volume 1. The actual story begins with a daughter and father that are spiritual investigators. They're kind of like ghost hunters, but they encounter the monsters and, like it says in the back, unleash Desh. This manga can be very repetitive. The reader is constantly told how dangerous these monsters are, and at one point the characters get held hostage in the monster's grip, and yet the monsters don't do anything to them for 65 pages, while they're all freaking out about how they're going to die. I didn't see or feel the threat to this. That leads me to the dialogue. Like I said, it loops and is very repetitive. There is an exorcist character, more like a nun. She keeps saying how sorry she is for failing. I kept answering the character, I know, you already said that. There are also forced catchphrases that sound cool, but they don't mean anything to the character, because the character seems like they don't even believe in themselves, which made me answer to the character, why are you saying that? I wondered if the speech bubbles were just trying to be filled up. At one point, I didn't even bother reading what the character said, because it doesn't matter. They just keep repeating themselves. Of course, I went back to finish so I can do a review. There is some humor in the beginning, and it is cringy. A lot of playful, angry anime expressions to maybe make the characters likable, or to give them personality. I have no emotional connection to the characters. I didn't care for them or care about them. Now, about those 3 characters. The first is our main character, Desh, the vampire. Oh, that name. If you're interested in making manga, names are very important. He is the most interesting. Like I mentioned before, it is his revenge story, and it's very personal. He has this anti-hero vibe to him, but at the same time, he's like a ticking time bomb full of wrath. The next character is Remy, a teen girl and the daughter of a spiritual investigator. It says that she is, but it's more like her father is, but she's along for the ride. She is annoying. There's a situation with her father involved and accuses Desh. Not exactly the case, but no one is telling her the situation. She is also yelling about revenge. As I said, her dad is the ghost hunter. She's in for the ride, she follows him around. I think she enjoys it, but it doesn't seem she's too interested in that. She's a bit of a conflicting character. She wants to play with ghosts, but at the same time, she says that it's lame. Here's an example. Her dad shows a news article about a rumored paranormal, and she tells him not to believe everything he reads. Okay, do you or don't you believe in ghosts, even though you've seen them and played with them? Lastly, the exorcist. She's more of a nun with light powers. She's also the stereotype sexy nun, which made me go, oh my god. It's not that bad, I guess. She seems cool with her powers. I love this kind of stuff, but she is so useless. I tried to like her. I really tried, but there is nothing. Maybe in volume 2. Now for the art style. It isn't bad. It's okay, and the style grows on you. The vampire Desh reminds me a lot from the Darkstalkers video game. There is fan service, so heads up. There are a lot of panty scenes, chest grabbing scenes, which is really odd because an older man does it to the teenage girl and the dad is there and he just kind of And of course the sexy nun with many angles. There are a lot of suggestive themes too in this manga. Although nothing happens, like tentacles. It's not teasing the reader with these themes, it's more like this manga doesn't know what to do with them once it's mentioned. While I was reading, I asked, make up your mind, are we going there or not? I guess what I'm trying to say is, the execution is off target. The action is a huge part of this manga. I can tell it's cool, but I can't tell what's going on. The powers and the enemies are hyper detailed, and a lot of scenes are cramped into the panel. The enemies have a different art style to them and aren't very clear. This manga scratches the surface of the plot and story. Like I said before, the very ending of this manga, the plot is established. So there is a lot to come in volume 2. And I can foresee that we're gonna get a lot of character dynamics with these 3 characters joining together. So my rating for this manga, 5 being absolutely neutral and 10 being the best thing I've ever read, I give Rebirth a 2. I'm interested in Desh. I can tell his character arc will be good in the future. But while reading volume 1, I kept looking how much I had left, and I was bored and I wanted it to be done. I was curious about this manga, and I saw that there are 22 volumes in this series. So maybe it's a slow burn. Will you have patience for this series?